Howdy, y'all. Swan, Marion, the bookworm cowboy, here to read some more of the Kane Chronicles, The Serpent's Shadow by Rick Riordan. Yeah, this is starting to get good, this story. Yeah. And I got some perfect music for it. Chapter 5, A Dance with Death. Cheers, caller. At least you have the sense to hand me the microphone for important things. Honestly, he drones on and on about his plans for the apocalypse, but he makes no plans at all for the school dance. My brother's priorities are severely skewed. I don't think I was being selfish wanting to go to the dance. Of course, we had serious business to deal with. That's exactly why I insisted on partying first. Our initiative needed a morale boost. They needed a chance to be normal kids, to have friends and live outside and lives outside Brooklyn House. Something worth fighting for. Even armies in the field fight better when they take breaks for entertainment. And some general somewhere said that. By sunset, I was ready to lead my troops into battle. I'd pick, I'd pick out quite a nice strapless dress and put black lowlights in my blonde hair. With just a touch of dark makeup for that risen from the grave look. I wore simple flats for dancing. Despite what Carter says, I do not wear combat boots all the time. Just 90% of the time. A silver tear amulet from my mother's jewelry box, and the pendant Walt had given me for my last birthday with the Egyptian symbol of eternity, Shen. Walt had an identical amulet among his own collection of talismans, which provided us a magical line of communication and even the ability to summon the other person to our side in emergencies. Unfortunately, the Shen amulet didn't mean we were dating exclusively, or even dating at all. If Walt had asked me, I think I would have been fine with it. Walt was so kind and gorgeous. Perfect, really, in his own way. Perhaps if he'd asserted himself a bit more, I would have fallen for him and been able to let go of that other boy, the godly one. But Walt was dying. He had this silly idea that it would be unfair to me if we started a relationship under those circumstances. As if that would stop me. So we were stuck in this maddening limbo, flirting, talking for hours, a few times even sharing a kiss when we let our guard down, but eventually Walt would always pull me away and shut me down. Why couldn't things be simple? I bring this up because I literally ran into Walt as I was coming down the stairs. Oh, I said. Then I noticed he was still wearing his old, old muscle, shirt, jeans, and no shoes. You're not ready yet? I'm not going, he announced. My mouth fell open. What? Why? Sadie, you incredible need me when you visit the coast. If I'm going to make it, I have to rest. But I forced myself to stop. It wasn't right for me to pressure him. I didn't need Magic to see that he really was in great pain. Centuries of magical healing knowledge at our disposal, yet lovingly tried seem to help Walt. I ask you, what's the point of being a magician if you can't wave your wand and make the people you care about feel better? Right, I said. I, I was just hoping. Anything I said would have sounded bratty. I wanted to dance with him. Gods of Egypt, I'd dress up for him. The more those boys at school were all right, I suppose, but they seemed quite shallow compared to Walt. Oh yes, fine compared to Anubis. As for the other boys up at the house, dancing with them would have made me feel a bit odd, like I was dancing with my cousins. I could stay, I offered, but I suppose I didn't sound very convincing. Walt vanished a faint smile. Nose go, Sadie. Really, I'm sure you'll be feeling much better when you get back. Have a good time. He brushed past me and climbed the steps. I took several deep breaths. Part of me did want to stay and look after him. Going without him didn't seem right. Then I glanced down into the great room. The older kids were joking and talking, ready to leave. If I didn't go, they might feel obliged to stay too. Something like wet cement settled in my stomach. All the joy and excitement suddenly went out of the evening for me. For months I'd been struggling to adjust to life in New York after so many years in London. Been forced to balance life as a young magician with the challenges of being an ordinary school leader. Now, just when this downside offered, seemed to offer me a chance to combine both worlds and, and have a lovely night out, my hopes were dashed. I'd still have to go and pretend to have fun, but I'd only be doing it out of duty to make the others feel better. I wondered if this was like what being a grown up felt like. Horrible. The only thing that cheered me up was Carter. He emerged from his room dressed like a junior professor. Mm. In a coat and tie, a button-down shirt and trousers. Poor boy. Of course, he'd never been to a dance any more than he'd been to school. He had no clue whatsoever. Look, wonderful. I tried to keep a straight face. Do you realize it's not a funeral? Shut up, he grumbled. Let's get this over with. School the kids and I attended was an academy for the gifted. Everyone called it back. We had no end of jokes about this. The students were baggies. The glamour girls were nose jobs and Botox lips with plastic bags. Alumni were old bags. And naturally, our headmistress, Mrs. Laird, was the bag lady. Quite the name, the school was quite nice. All the students were gifted in some sort of art, music, or drama. Our schedules were flexible, with lots of independent study time, which worked perfectly for us magicians. We could pop off to battle monsters as needed, and as magicians, it wasn't difficult for us to pass ourselves off as gifted. We also used their earth magic to make sculptures. Both specialized in jewelry. Thea was an amazing writer. Since she could retell stories that had been told me since the days of ancient Egypt. As for me, I knew no magic. I was a natural at drama. Stop laughing, Carter. Might not expect this in the middle of Brooklyn, but our campus was like a park, with acres of green lawns, well-tended trees and hedges, even a small lake with ducks and swans. The dance was held in the pavilion in front of the administration building. A band played in the gazebo. Lights were strung on the trees. Teachers chaperones walked the perimeter on push patrol, making sure none of the older students sneaked off into the shrubbery. I try not to think about it, but the music and crowd reminded me of Dallas the night before. Very different sort of party, which had ended badly. I remember J.D. Grissom clasping my hand, wishing me luck before he ran off to save his wife. Horrible guilt wailed inside me. I forced it down. It wouldn't do the Grissoms any good for me to stop crying in the middle of the dance. It certainly wouldn't help my friends enjoy themselves. As our group dispersed into the crowd, I turned to Carter, who was fiddling with his towel. Right, I said. You need to dance. Carter looked at me in horror. What? I called over one of my mortal friends, another girl named Lacey. She was a year younger than I, so she looked up to me greatly. I know it's hard not to. She had a cute blonde pigtail. She had cute blonde pigtails, a mouthful of braces, and was possibly the only person at the dance more nervous than my brother. She'd seen pictures of Carter before, however, and seemed to find him hot. I didn't hold that against her. In most ways, she has excellent taste. Lacey Carter. I introduced them. You look like your pictures. Lacey grinned. The brands of braces were alternating pink and white to match her dress. Carter said, uh, he doesn't know how to dance. I told Lacey. I'd be so grateful if you teach him. Sure! Grabbed my brother's hand and swept him away. I started to feel better. Perhaps I could have fun tonight after all. Then I turned and found myself face to face with one of my not so favorite mortals. Drew Tanaka, head of the popular girl clique, with her supermodel goon squad in tow. Sadie! Drew threw her arms around me. Her perfume was a mixture of roses and tear gas. So glad you're here, sweetie. If I'd known you were coming, you could have been in the limo with us. Her friend made me sympathetic. Aw, Sam. And grinned to show us they were not at all sincere. They were dressed more or less the same, in the latest designer bits, filthy designer bits their parents had no doubt commissioned for them during the last fashion. She was the tallest and most glamorous. I used the word as an insult, with awful pink eyeliner and frizzy black curls that were apparently Drew's own personal crusade to bring back the 80s perm, 1980s perm. She wore a pendant, glittering platinum and diamond D, possibly her initial, or a grade average. I gave her a tight smile. A limo, wow, thanks for that. But between you, your friends, and your egos, I doubt there would have been extra room. Drew pouted. That's not nice, hon. Where is Walt? Is the poor baby still sick? Behind us, some of the girls coughed into their fists, mimicking what? I wanted to pull myself from the Duran and turn them into worms for the ducks. Into worms for the ducks. I was pretty sure I could manage that, and I doubt anyone would miss them, but I kept my temper. Stacy had warned me about Drew the first day of school. Apparently, the two of them had gone to some cemetery together, blah blah. Didn't really listen to the details. And Drew had been just as much of a tyrant there. That did not, however, mean she could be a tyrant with me. Walt's at home, I said. I did tell him to you'd be here. Funny, that didn't seem to motivate him much. What a shame, Drew sighed. You know, maybe he's not really sick. He might just be allergic to you, hon. That does happen. Should I go to his place for some chicken soup or something? Where does he live? She smiled sweetly. I didn't know if she actually fancied Ron or if she just pretended because she hated him. Either way, the idea of turning her into an orphan was becoming more appealing. Before I could before I could do anything rash, a familiar voice behind me said, the other girls let out a collective gasp. Pulse quickened from still rock to 5 meter dash. I turned and found that, yes, indeed, called Anubis had crashed our dance. He had the nerve to look so amazing. As usual, he's so annoying that way. He wore skinny black trousers with black leather boots and a biker's jacket over an arcade fire t-shirt. His dark hair was naturally disheveled as if he'd just woken up. I fought the urge to run my fingers through it. His brown eyes glittered with confusion. Friday he was happy to see me. We enjoyed me seeing me flustered. Oh my God, he whimpered. Who? Anubis took me all the lesson for that and held out his elbow for me. A sweet old fashioned gesture. May I have this dance? I suppose, I said as uncomfortably as I could. I looped my arm around his, and we left the plastic bags behind us, all muttering, oh my God, oh my God. No, actually, I wanted to say, he's my amazingly hot boyfriend, God. Boy, God. Find your own. The uneven paving stones made a dangerous dance floor. All around us, kids were tripping over each other. Nervous didn't help matters as all the girls turned their dogs at him as he led me through the crowd. I was glad that Anubis had my arm. My emotions were so jumbled. I felt dizzy. I was ridiculously happy that he was here. I felt personally guilty that poor Walt was at home alone while I spoke on and on with Anubis. But I was relieved that Walt and Anubis weren't both here together. That would have been beyond awkward. The relief made me feel guilty and so on. Gods of Egypt, I was a mess. As we reached the middle of the dance floor, the band singers switched from a dance number to a love ballad. Was that your doing? I asked Anubis. Oh, he smiled. It wasn't much of an answer. He put one hand on my hip and clasped my other hand, like a proper gentleman. He swayed. I'd heard of dancing on air, but it took me a few steps to realize we were actually levitating. A few millimeters off the ground, not enough for anyone to notice, just enough for us to glide across the stones while others stumbled. A few meters away, Calder looked quite awkward as Lacey showed him how to slow dance. Really, Calder, it isn't quantum physics. I gazed up at Anubis' long brown eyes and his exquisite lips. He kissed me once, on my birthday last spring, and I never quite got over it. You'd think a god of death would have cold lips. That wasn't the case at all. Tried to clear my head. I knew this must be there for some reason. It was awfully hard to focus. I thought, thought that not man's not to drool over my on myself. Oh, brilliant, Sadie, I thought. Let's try for a complete sentence now, shall we? I thought you could only be in places of death, I said. You know, this laughed too. This is a place of death, Sadie. The Battle of Brooklyn Heights, 1776. Hundreds of Americans and British troops died here where we're dancing. How romantic, I muttered. So we're dancing on their graves. Anubis shook his head. Most women receive proper burials. That's why I decided to take both of you here. These ghosts could use a night of entertainment, just like our initiates. Suddenly, spirits were twirling all around us. Numerous apparitions, 18th century clothes. Some wore the red uniforms of British regulars, others had ragtag militia outfits. They pirouetted with lady ghosts in plain farm dresses or fancy silk. A few of the posh women had piles of curly hair that would have made even you jealous. Ghosts seemed to be dancing it to a different song. I strained my ears and could faintly hear violins and a cello. None of the regular mortals seemed to notice the spectral invasion. Even my friends from Brooklyn House were oblivious. I watched as the ghostly couple walked straight through Carter and Lacey. As Anubis and I danced, Brooklyn Academy seemed to fade and the ghosts became more real. One soldier had a musket wound in his chest. It was so hot and a tomahawk sticking out of his padded blade. He danced between worlds, waltzing side by side with smiling, gruesomely slaughtered phantoms. Anubis certainly knew how to show a girl a good time. You're doing it again, I said. Take me out of phase, or whatever you call it. A little, he admitted. Need privacy to talk. I promised you I'd visit in person. And you did. But it's going to cause trouble. This may be the last time I can see you. It's been months since I've been grumbling about our situation. I narrowed my eyes. As the ball of death bless you. Our situation, I repeated. Us. The word set my ears buzzing. I tried to keep my voice even. As far as I'm aware, there is no official us. Why would this be the last time we can talk? He was definitely blushing now. Please, just listen. There's so much I need to tell you. Your brother has the right idea. The shadow of a prophet is your best hope. But only one person can teach you the magic you need. Toast may guide you somewhat, but I doubt he'll reveal the secret spells. It's too dangerous. Hold on. I was still reeling from my comment about us, and the idea that this might be the last time I saw Anubis. That's when my brain cells into panic mode, thousands of tiny sadies running around my skull screaming and waving their arms. Tried to focus. You mean a prophet does have a shadow? It can be used to execrate. Please don't use that word. Anubis grimaced. But yes, our intelligent entities have souls, so all of them have shadows, even a prophet. I know this much, being the guide of the dead. I have to make souls my business. Could the shadow be used against them? In theory, yes, but there are many dangers. Naturally, Anubis twirled me through a pair of colonial ghosts. Other students watched us, whispering as we danced, but their voices sounded distant and distorted because they were on the far side of a waterfall. Anubis studied me with a sort of tender regret. Sadie, I wouldn't have set you on this path if there was another way. I don't want you to die. I can agree with that, I said. Even talking about this sort of magic is forbidden, he warned. But you need to know what you're dealing with. The shade is the least understood part of this earth. It's it's how to explain. A soul of last resort, an after image of the person's life force. You've heard about the soul of the wicked are destroyed in the halls of judgment, and Ammit devours their hearts. I said, yes, Anubis lowered his voice. They say that this completely destroys the shadow leading after occasionally and after the stars has decided to review judgment. If someone is found guilty, but new evidence comes to light, there must be a way to achieve a soul from oblivion. I tried to grasp that. My thoughts were suspended in midair like my feet, not able to connect with anything solid. So, you're saying the shadow could be used to reboot a soul, like Lupia's backup drive? Anubis looked at me strangely. I'm sorry. I said I was spending too much time with my big brother. He speaks like a computer. Don't know, Anubis said. It's actually a good analogy. I've never thought of it that way. Yes, the soul isn't completely destroyed until the shadow is destroyed. So in extreme cases with dark magic, it's possible to reboot the soul into using the shade. Conversely, if you were to destroy a god's shadow, or even a prophet's shadow as part of the X, the source spell you mentioned, the shade will be infinitely more powerful than a regular statue. One guess. We could destroy him possibly without destroying ourselves. Anubis glanced around us nervously. Yes, we can see why this sort of magic is secret. The gods would never want such knowledge in the hands of a mortal magician. This is why we always hide our shadows. If a magician were to able to capture God's shade and use it to threaten us, right, my mouth felt dry. Well, I'm on your side. I'd only use this spell on a person shooting time. Perhaps. You the same sound convinced. Start with toss at least. Hopefully he'll see the need to assist you. I fear though, he may still need better guidance. More dangerous guidance. A goat. You said only one person could teach us the magic. Who? The only magician crazy enough to ever research such a spell. His trial is tomorrow at sunset. You'll have to visit your father before then. Wait, what? Wind blew from the through the pavilion. It was his hand tightened on mine. Wait, what? We have to hurry, he said. There's more I need to tell you. Something is happening with the spirits of the dead. They're being. Look there! He pointed out to a pair of nearby specters. The woman danced barefoot in a simple white linen dress. The man wore beak breeches and a frock coat like a colonial farmer. His neck was his neck was canted at a funny angle as if he'd been hanged. Black mist coiled around the back. Another three-walt step, and he was completely engulfed. The murky tendrils pulled him from into the ground, and he disappeared. The woman the light kept dancing by herself, apparently unaware that her partner had been consumed by evil speakers or small. What was that? I asked. We don't know, Anubis said. As the prophets grow stronger, it's happening more frequently. Souls of the dead are disappearing, being drawn farther down into the rock. We don't know where they're going. I almost my mother. Is she all right? Anubis gave me a pained look, and I knew the answer. Murmured warmly, "We might never see her again unless we discover a way to defeat Apophis." She sent me that message urging me to find the serpent's shadow. It had to be connected to her dilemma somehow. She's missing, I guess. My heart pounded against my ribs. Got something to do with this business about shadows, hasn't it? Sadie, I wish I knew your father. He's trying his best to find her. But the wind interrupted him. Have you ever struck your hand out and another time felt the air push against you? It was a bit like that, but 10 times more powerful. A wedge of force pushed me apart. I staggered backward, my feet no longer levitating. Sadie! And it was reached out, but the wind pushed him farther away. Stop that! Stop that! Said a squeaky voice between us. No, better get this place elected in my watch! The air took on a human form. At first it was just a faint silhouette, then it became more solid and colorful. Before me stood a man in an old-fashioned aviator's jacket, a leather helmet, leather helmet, goggles, scarf, and bomber's jacket. Like feathers I'd seen at the Royal Air Force pilot during World War II. It wasn't flesh and blood. Swan swirled and shifted. I realized he was put together from blown rubbish. Flakes of dirt, scraps of paper, bits of dandelion fuzz, dried leaves, all turning about, but held together in such a tight collage by the wind that night from this might have passed almost over. He wagged his finger at Anubis. This is the final insult, boy. His voice hissed from my ear. You have been warned numerous times. Hold on, I said. Who are you? Anubis is hardly a boy. He's 5,000 years old. Exactly, the aviator snapped. A mere child, and I didn't give you permission to speak, girl. The aviator exploded. The blast was more so powerful. My ears popped, and I fell on my bum. Beyond me, the other models, my friends, teachers, and all the students collapsed. Anubis and the ghost seemed unaffected. The aviator formed again, glaring down at me. Struggled through my feet and tried to summon my staff from the Duan. No such luck. What have you done? I demanded. Sadie, it's all right, he said. My friends are only unconscious. She just lowered the air pressure. Shoot? I said. I demanded. Shoot who? And the whisper pressed his fingers to his temple. Sadie, this is true. My great-grandfather. Then it struck me. Shu was one of those ridiculous scalding names I'd heard before. Right place. Ah, the dollar. No, wait. Leaky balloon. No. Air. God of air. Shu hissed. His body dissolved into a tornado of debris, and he formed again. He was in ancient Egyptian costume, bare-chested with a white loincloth, and a giant ostrich feather sprang into his braided headband. Changed back into RAF clothes. Rick with the pilot's outfit, I said. The ostrich feather really doesn't work for you. Shu made an unfriendly whooshing sound. I prefer to be invisible, thank you very much. But you mortals have polluted the air so badly it's getting harder and harder. It's dreadful what you've done. In the last few millennia, haven't you people heard of spirited air days, carpooling, hybrid engines? Don't get me started on cows. Did you know that every cow belches and fires over 100 gallons of methane every day? There are 1.5 billion cows in the world. Do you have any idea what that does on my respiratory system? The jacket bulking. She introduced on the hair, puffed on it. Shocking. I raised an eyebrow at Anubis. He was mortally embarrassed. or perhaps they're mortally embarrassed. Shoo, he said, we were just talking if you'll let us finish. Oh, talking! Shoo bellows, no reason releasing his own share of methane, while holding hands and dancing another degenerate behavior. Don't play innocent, boy! I've been the chaperone before, you know. I know your grandparents for eons. Can't know kept your grandparents apart for eons. Suddenly I remembered the story of Newt and Geb, the sky and the earth. Well, I had commanded Newt's father Shu to keep the two lovers apart so that they would never have children who might someday usurp Raw's throne. That strategy hadn't worked, but apparently Shu was still trying. There God waves his hands in disgust at the conscious mortals, some of which were just starting to grin and stare. And now, Anubis, I find you in this den of iniquity, this morass of questionable behavior, this school I suggested. Yes, Shu nodded so vigorously, his head disintegrated into a cloud of leaves. You're the moral decree of the You're the decree of the gods, boy. You have become entirely too close to this mortal. You are hereby banned from further contact. What? I shouted. That's ridiculous. Who decrees this? She made us sound like a blown out tire. Either he was laughing or giving me a wild, windy raspberry. Entire council, girl, led by Lord Horus and Lady Isis. I felt as if I was just solving into scraps of rubbish myself. Isis and Horus? I can't believe this. Currently stabbed in the back by my two supposed friends. Isis and I were going to have words about this. Turned to Anubis, hoping he'd tell me it was a lie. He raised his hands miserably. Sadie, I was trying to tell you. Gods are not allowed to become directly involved with mortals. That's only possible when God happens to do it to him. And that, as you know, we overlook that. I gritted my teeth. I wanted to argue that Anubis had quite a nice form, but he told me often that he could only manifest in dreams or in places of death. And like other gods, he never taken a human place. It was so bloody unfair. You don't even date it properly. You don't kiss me 6 months ago. Anubis was grounded from seeing me forever. Can't be serious. I'm not sure who made me angrier. Fussy ear got chaperone or Anubis himself. You're not really going to let them rule you like this? He has no choice, she cried. You ever made him cost so badly? Just exploded into dandelion fluff. Took another blast from his hair. Look at ozone levels. Deplorable. Now off with you, Anubis. No more contact with this mortal. It is not proper. That's for you, girl. Stay away from him. You have more important things to do. Oh, yes, I said. And what about you, Mr. Trash Tornado? We're preparing for war. The most important thing you can do is keep people from waltzing. The air pressure rose suddenly. Blood roared in my head. See here, girl, Sue growled. I've already helped you more than you deserve. I heeded that Russian boy's prayer. I brought him here all the way from St. Petersburg to speak with you. So shoo! The wind blasted me backward. The ghosts flew away like smoke. Unconscious mortals began to stir, shielding their faces from the debris. Russian boy! I shouted again. What on earth are you talking about? Jews disbanded into rubbish and swirled around Anubis, lifting him off his feet. Sadie! Anubis tried to fight his way toward me, but the storm was too strong. Shoot, at least let me tell her about Walt. She has the right to know. I could barely hear him above the wind. Did you say Walt? I shouted, what about him? Anubis said something I couldn't make out. Then the flurry of debris completely obscured him. When the wind died, the gods were gone. I stood alone on the dance floor, surrounded by dozens of the kids and adults who were starting to wake up. I was about to run to Calder to make sure he was all right. Yes, Calder, I was. Then at the edge of the pavilion, a young man stepped into the light. He wore a gray military uniform with a wool coat too heavy for the warm summer September night. His enormous ears seemed to be the only thing holding up his oversized hat. The rifle was slung across his shoulder. He couldn't have been more than 17, though he was definitely not from any of the schools at the dance. He looked vaguely familiar. St. Petersburg, Shu had said. Yes, I met this boy briefly last summer. Scott and I had been running from the Hermitage Museum. The boy had tried to stop us. He'd been disguised as a god, but revealed himself as a magician from the Russian name, one of the servants of the evil Vlad Menshikov. I grabbed my staff from the Duat successfully this time. The boy raised his hands in surrender. Yet! Yet! He pleaded in halting English, he said. Sadie Kane. Lee, we need to talk.